Hey, what is up guys, and welcome to my channel and for another build for Stranger Paradise. I finally have such an amazing build for the assassin that I can't wait to share with you all. I had to do a lot of experimenting to make the assassin build this powerful cause there are a lot of things that the game doesn't tell you. The main ability for your assassin, which is the Exterminate, will deal damage to the enemies based on the number of tags on them. Now with the new classes that the assassin received are actually really good. We can easily tag the enemies without having to get critical hits. The class effect on the Phantom will trigger a shockwave if there are no marks present on any enemies around you. It feels more like the assassin throwing knives around him in a very large radius, and it gives the enemies around 7 marks. After a lot of testing, the shockwave alone does so much damage, and then when you actually proc the Exterminate again, it goes even crazy. Every single enemy around you will die almost instantly just with the sheer damage from your ability. This build is so powerful that it can clear any mission super easily, even on the higher dragon trials. A really strong melee build if you like fighting up close to the enemies. So let's get right into the build. Alrighty, so firstly the jobs that we are using are Phantom class on the Assassin and the Shadow Master class on the Ninja. Once again, the Ninja is mostly used so we can easily get to max MP at the start of every fight, and to get all your buffs as well as using one of his tools which allow us to tank 3 attacks from the enemies. The affinities that you will need for your ninja are 400% Void Knight, so you can have really cheap command abilities, at least 120% on your summoner so you can chain cancel to reach max MP, and 250% on your samurai to get bonus damage on chain cancel, and finally at least 120% on your white mage so we can get longer buff durations. That is all you need on a ninja, so now let's have a look at our main assassin job. The main ability on your assassin is that you can deal damage based on the number of marks on the enemies. You can mark enemies by landing critical hits. So we are going to be using the Phantom class, and what this does is that when you don't have any marks present on the enemies, he will release a shockwave that will mark all enemies around you, and it can mark an enemy up to 7 times. This ability is absolutely ridiculous. The damage from the shockwave may not look like much, dealing 1000 or so damage with each hit, but when you actually activate the ability again, you deal around 4 to even 5000 damage with every mark that is on the enemy. Also, another great thing with this is after you have used the ability and the marks are dealing damage, if you keep on hitting them with crits, the marks will keep on adding and Exterminate will keep on dealing the damage. It is absolutely ridiculous. Let's go over the affinities that we will be using. Firstly, we get 400% on Breaker, so every time we soul burst enemies we will get bonus damage. Then we get 400% on a Dark Knight to get even more damage by having all our near death effects active all the time. Some other good affinities that you can add, especially for this build, is 250% on a Dragoon. With the Dragon's Might ability, you can easily soul burst enemies that you kill with the action skill. This way you will never run out of MP, as well as getting that big soul burst damage bonus from the Breaker job. You can see here that just using Exterminate is enough to get through the entire mission. The smaller enemies will die just from a shockwave, so it's an easy way to soul burst and dispose the enemies. We also get 250% on our assassin to get that bonus agility added to all our stats. So your action skill is scaled off both strength and agility stat, so the higher it is the stronger it will be. After that, any other affinities that can give you bonus strength or agility will be good to have. The weapon we want for this build is any type of gauntlets, preferably the Inferno Claws or the Raptor Claws. The abilities on these weapons, which is the Death Claw and the Spiraling Claw, are 2 really good abilities to use. They aren't necessary for this build, but you have good affinities on this exact weapon, then it would be good to have. The reason why we use the gauntlets is because they can attack really quickly, and we have this amazing move which is the Falcon's Dive. This move does cost 2 bars of MPs to use, but it is hella worth it. As you can see, it can do a ridiculous amount of damage. That is because this skill is also scaled off your agility, which makes it even stronger. For bossing, this skill and your main action skill is all you need to take them out. For the smaller bosses who move around a lot is when you use the Spiraling Claw skill, or even the Double Dragon combo, which is also another great skill, and once again it's scaled off your agility so it's super strong. The command abilities we use are pretty straightforward. We have the Summon Tachi and Mighty Strikes for more damage, and we use Lunatic to increase our attack speed. Here's a look at the Masterpoints I used for the assassin. That is it for all the weapons and gear pieces you will need for this build. Even if you don't have the correct affinities on your items, even if you just have the first 3 that I mentioned, which is the Breaker, Dark Knight and the Dragoon, you will do just fine. When playing with this build, all you need to do is use the action skill all the time. On the smaller enemies, you won't even need to use it twice to set off your marks, as the shockwaves alone is enough to kill them all. Only when you fight bosses or some of those bigger enemies will you actually need to attack them with your weapon. MP is really easy to manage with this build since the assassin has a really neat skill in the skill tree, which is the Assassinate Mastery. This skill will show you MP based on damage dealt which you exterminate. So bursting every enemy as well as the skill, I have never ran out of MP with this setup. You can have your Dragon Child set up almost at its max with this build, making it very easy to farm for dragon treasures. With the second DLC coming soon, we should stack up on our dragon treasures as much as we can. Hope you guys enjoyed the build. I am super happy to have a really powerful build for the assassin, and it is probably one of the easiest builds in the game. It doesn't require any setups or anything. What do you guys think of this build? Let me know. I would love to hear from you all. I will catch you all next time.